Hi y'all, Claire Tannhauser here, jewelry designer and gemologist. My business is called the Moon Tree Boutique, and I have an Etsy shop as well as doing a lot of gem shows in my area, which is the greater Atlanta area in Georgia. And I just got a package from my cutter in India, and I'm going to open it. Y'all love unboxing videos. So that is what we're going to do today. I'm also trying out a new camera, so hopefully this is good. And I thought while I struggled to get this package open, I would address some frequently asked questions that I get a lot, primarily at shows, from my customers. And yeah, so people often ask me how I got into this business. And sort of the very short answer is I always wanted to do something in the arts. I studied art and art history in college. And while I was in college, I got a job sort of on a fluke at an amazing gem and mineral store in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is sadly closed now, but it was called Natural Stones. And the owner is an incredible man who'd been in the business for ages named Garrick Beck. And he really mentored me. And I worked there for probably 10 years in the shop. And then even after that, I would go back and work in his booth at Tucson every year. So in addition to going to school remotely during that time at GIA, the Gemological Institute of America, and studying sort of the science of gemstones, I had the benefit of mentorship. So I am very fortunate in that respect that I was able to find someone who could teach me and basically provide me with that invaluable experience, because I don't know that GIA alone would have really made my ID skills as strong as they are without just seeing over the course of my career many thousands of gemstones. So that's how I got into the business. I was 19-year-old at that time, and now I'm 42, so I've been doing this for a long time. Another question that I get asked a lot by customers is, what can they do to educate themselves about buying what they think they're buying, what they're trying to buy, and not getting scammed? Unfortunately, there are definitely bad actors in this business, like there are in every business, that will try and mislead people. However, I think things have gotten very out of hand in terms of use of terms like fake for things that are natural gemstones but have maybe been enhanced. So those are, a heated citrine is still a real citrine, it's just a citrine that's been heated. So I think there's a lot of confusion and sort of like catastrophizing about the state of the business. And I would say the main thing you can do if you're not an expert is just shop with trusted sources. Look for people who've been in business a long time, who have a good reputation. If you go to a gem show, ask a lot of questions. Even if you're buying something online, like email with questions. If they don't get back to you in a clear way, in a timely manner, like maybe they're not the best source for you to be buying from. So those are two quick questions that I often get. So the first package I have opened is a banded carnelian agate. And carnelian is the word for an agate that's anywhere from a deep red to like a peachy orange. Now these stones have been heat treated. Most carnelian is heat treated. It just deepens the color. They have not been dyed. And so let's talk for a second about the difference between an imitation stone, a natural stone, and a treated stone. So if these were made of glass, that would be fake. That would be an imitation of banded carnelian. These are real carnelian. They've just been heated. And the heat and radiation of the earth is what gives these gemstones, you know, lets them bake and turns the ingredients into finished stones, basically. And these heat treatments are almost just like letting it bake a little longer. These are really beautiful. I love the pattern. Again, these have not been dyed. So you'll see this banded agate sometimes being sold as onyx onyx is the name for black agate. So if you see a banded agate that's brown and black, maybe you would call that sardonyx. Sard is brown agate, onyx is black agate. But sometimes any banded agate will be sold as onyx. That's not technically correct, but it is common in the trade. And I just thought these were really striking and beautiful. Make something fabulous out of that. What else have we got here? So these are pretty great. Okay, I got 2 bags of labradorite, which is a type of feldspar that has an iridescent flash to it. I got a bunch of these, this shape that I thought would be great for rings. So look for those coming at you. Then I got some really interesting faceted ones as well. Oh, well, be darned, this wasn't what I was expecting. So these are not in cabochon, meaning they don't have a flat back. They are faceted on both sides. So that's fun. Not really what I thought I was getting. See, even me, sometimes I don't read the listings as carefully as I should because I'd bought from this seller before, and many times before, and previously these had been flat on the back. So I was going to use these for rings, but now I realize they're going to have to be pendants or earrings because I cannot set them in a ring setting because they are curved on both sides. But that's great. I'm happy to improvise. So this is one of my favorite stones that is very underappreciated. People think of garnet as being exclusively dark red, like a burgundy color. This is a type of garnet called Hessianite garnet that's a brown-orange color. And I absolutely love these. There's another orange called garnet called spessartite, which is like one of my absolute favorites. It's a little bit more vivid. So I have a number of these. This is what's called a rose cut or a checker cut, which means that it is flat on the back and faceted on the top. I prefer these for rings and things. They're just very easy to set. So this bag is probably the most expensive thing I got. These are tanzanite, and they are chatoyant tanzanite. Now that is the term for a tanzanite basically that has almost a cat's eye phenomenon inside of it. Not all of them were chatoyant, but a few were. But I just love this beautiful cornflower blue. It's sort of a pale gray purple color. And I love tanzanite. I try and use it whenever possible. These are very pretty. I got a large lot. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them in the lot. Love those. This is a purple gemstone called charoite that comes from Siberia. You get 2 pairs of these. It's a natural, vibrant purple color, and it oftentimes will have sort of a fibrous striation, as well as black inclusions that I believe are manganese. These are pretty uniformly colored, so they're not super characteristic of charoite, but they are within that range of quality that you see. Another one of my favorites, this is a minty green chalcedony called chrysoprase. It's found in Brazil, Australia, some other places. And to me, it is just the prettiest seafoam mint green, and I got a bunch of those. You guys, if you see any dirt on my hands, I was painting a fence this morning and then I was gardening. It's finally spring here, so please ignore any stuff on my hands. I did wash them, but you know how it is. Okay, this is another feldspar that is different from labradorite, which is orthoclase feldspar. This is amazonite, which is microcline feldspar. And it is a blue to green color. I believe this is also Russian material, but again, it can come from a number of places. The original place it came from was the Amazon, which is why it's called amazonite. Gemstones are often named for the person who found them or the place that they were found. And I love those. These are also rose cut, meaning they're faceted on the top and flat on the back. What else do we have here? The sun keeps going in and out from behind a cloud, so I apologize if the light levels are changing. I am just doing my best to power through this. Okay, so I have some sort of a blue-gray sapphires here. They're a very, very deep blue color. Not the highest quality, but I bought them because one of the pairs is a star sapphire, which is basically a name for when there is titanium or rutile inclusions inside the sapphire, that when the light penetrates the stone, it breaks it up and reflects it back, and it creates a very interesting, not quite iridescence, but a sheen to it that's really cool. All right, I also have some nice Chinese turquoise. And these have been stabilized but are natural color. Stabilization is when they take the rough stone and under heat and pressure, they force basically an epoxy into the stone, a type of resin that makes it easier to cut, makes it less crumbly. Sometimes there's color added, and stabilized turquoise can look very plasticky. These are natural color but have received some stabilization. And I price them accordingly, and I disclose that to my customers. So I have no problem with stabilized material as long as it's disclosed. Any treatment I'm happy to talk about. I write it on the tag. People will ask me, what is fracture filled? What does this fracture filled emerald tag mean? And again, it's heat and pressure. That in that case, they force oil into commonly emerald, ruby, and sapphire to increase the refractive index, basically make it so the cracks inside the sapphire are filled with oil, which has a closer refractive index than air does. So it fills all the cracks with oil, so when the light goes into the stone, it can move around more smoothly instead of hitting those air pockets and bouncing back. It's almost similar to wetting a stone on the beach and deepening the color, kind of. Okay. So then these guys are a brown star sapphire. Some are gray, some are brown. These again are domed on both sides. So these will make lovely double-sided pendants. And brown star sapphire, people think of sapphire as, oh, there's some paint and some rainbow coming in my window. Maybe I should move over here a little bit. Oh no. Okay. People think of sapphire as only being blue, but it comes in a wide variety of colors. Any color that is not blue is called a fancy sapphire. Only one color of fancy sapphire has its own name, and that's red sapphire, which we call ruby. The family is corundum, and the different varieties, blue is sapphire, red is ruby, and the rest are just called fancy sapphire. And so more of those. What else we have? Another brown star sapphire. This is a pair. Kind of get the idea of these. Right. Brown star sapphire. It's a very, actually these are more of a charcoal gray color, sorry. And then finally, last but not least, I have some cabochons of kyanite. Cabochon means it is not faceted. So there are not those cuts and polishes all over the surface that make the light sparkle. These are going to be smooth on the front and the back. And kyanite is a gemstone that can be opaque or transparent. These ones are sort of translucent, but they have nice color and they're good size for rings, which are very popular for me right now. So that's what I've been working on. All right, there you have it. A quick unboxing video for you guys and mini Q&A about gemstones. If you have any other questions about gemstones, about the jewelry business, about being a jewelry designer, being a gemologist, just put it in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I love not gatekeeping. I want to be a free educational resource for you guys. I was very fortunate. I got to go to school and, as I said, be mentored and be in the business for a long time. And I realized that's not an option for everyone. So please avail yourself of my enthusiasm and knowledge And I hope you're doing great. And if you want to see what I do with these beautiful gemstones, you can find my website on Etsy. It's Moontree, one word, boutique. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing great.